Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Austin Faure, and I'm from Smash Workshop. And today I'll be showing you guys how to create this piece and showing you how you can take any of your design work, any of your artwork, and make it look hand painted and animated. So, believe it or not, this actually isn't that difficult to do. And this can all be done within Premiere Pro. So, today I'll be giving you guys a demonstration of a couple of tools that our company created called hand painted titles, and also our element packs from our massive element smash pack. So without further ado, let's get into it. So my goal is to try and keep everything as simple as possible today, and I'm going to do my best to not use shortcuts. It's difficult for me, but I'm going to try and explain everything as I go, as if to help users who have never even opened Premiere before. I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible for you guys. So first things first is I'll launch Premiere Pro. If you don't already have it, you can install it within Adobe Creative Cloud. So I'll let that load. And then I'll create a new project. And you can call it whatever you want. In this case, I'll just call it Design Cuts Demonstration. And then don't worry about any of these settings. All the default settings are totally fine for pretty much any kind of project, especially the ones we'll be doing today. And then I'll choose a location. So I'll just create a folder. So I already have a project folder. It's nice to have everything in one location so you can have all your imagery, your assets, and then all your exports in one place. So what I'll do is I'll just create a Premiere folder inside of my main project folder, just so I can keep things nice and organized. And I'll click OK. Cool. So at first glance, this may look daunting. As a designer, this is a software you may or may not have come across. But yeah, I'll try and walk you guys through it, and we'll keep it really simple today. So first thing I'll do is I'll go up to Window, and then I'll open up my Central Graphics panel. And I'll give it a second to load. So this is a panel where I can load any kind of tools and any kind of presets into. So what I'll do is I'll load our title templates and our element templates into this panel, and to do that, I'll just drag them over. And then let's get our element pack 2. And then I'll get our title pack. So we have a few different hand painted packs. This one here is designed so you can import any kind of artwork. So whether it's a .ai file, an EPS, a JPEG, PNG, even an MOV, it'll work with just about all the most standard types of file types you'll come across. So that's our custom image version of the tool. There's also a hand painted title pack, which works with any font. So no matter what custom fonts you have, or even icon fonts, you can turn it all to be hand painted and animated in just a few easy steps. And then these are our element packs. So we have a total of 150 elements total to choose from, where we have 100 painted elements, and then there's 50 chalk elements. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and create a sequence, and I'll create the most common types of settings that you'll probably want to use. Depending on your project and your resolution, you can customize this, but most of the time for YouTube, especially, and a lot of the time for social media, you're going to be dealing with the same size. So let me click cancel just so I can go through the full process. So I'll go up to File, New, Sequence, and then I'll look for AVC HD, and then I'll select AVC HD 1080p 30, and that'll work good for what we're doing today. And then I'll just name my sequence here, and I'll just call it Design Cuts Demonstration. Click OK. Cool, and we're good. So believe it or not, you've already done the hardest part if you've gotten this far. So now what I'll do is I'll bring in one of our templates and I'll do a custom image template. And as I drag it in, it'll ask if I want to change the sequence settings, and I'll just say keep, so that way it doesn't change them. I'll give it a second to load. And I'll zoom into my timeline, which I can do down here. So you'll see it says I can replace this image at smashworkshop.com/customizer. So this is just a placeholder image. So what I want to do is I want to swap this out for my own custom artwork. So I'll go to smashworkshop.com/customizer. And then here's our tool, which will let us customize the template. So I'll open it up. And I'll bring in this hand-painted custom image template and just drag it in. And then I have a couple of graphics already ready to go. So I have the word design. I have the word cuts. So that way I can color them separately once I make them painted. And the tool will actually let me delete the background, so it doesn't matter that this is a white background. This could be a black background, it could be a PNG. Within the tool, I'm actually able to choose what color I want to knock out or which color I want to be transparent. So it makes it nice and easy for you. And I can load up to 10 images in a template, all as preset images, but in this case, I'll just load a couple. So that's all we need is the word design cuts. And then I'll name my template DC_demo. Make it easy to remember. And once that's done, this will save into my downloads folder by default. So I'll go over to downloads, and then I see right here DC demo. So I'll drag that in. Cool. And then I can see it right here. So I'll drag that over. Okay, perfect. I see my first image already. And you'll see if I drag to number 2, and then I'll adjust my transparency threshold. So essentially what this does is, if you know how a threshold works in Photoshop, it essentially maps your image to be all black and all white, and then there's a transition point where it transitions from black to white. Or if you're used to using Illustrator, if you ever do an image trace, it's the exact same as the threshold as you're doing a trace that chooses basically what's traced and what's not traced. So it's like that tipping point. But long story short, what this will do is it'll choose what's painted and what's not painted. So all I have to do is just drag this a little further to the right, and then I'll see my word cuts shows up. Perfect. And then I'll go ahead and option drag this layer up, and then I'll choose image 1 from this top slider. I'll bring in my word design. That looks good. And then I'll go ahead and customize the colors so it matches the design cuts branding. So make the word design white. And then I have our design cuts blue color right here. So I'll just copy that hex code. And then I'll click on my color here. And I'll paste it right here. Cool. So now we have the exact design cuts branding color. And then I'll go ahead and choose some textures. So we have a few different options. In this case, what I'll do is I'll use Bristle Brush, but I'll show you guys what all your options are. So Bristle Brush gives it a nice detailed, thick texture that's very noticeable, especially in video. And you'll notice these are also animated. And then there's also a wet paint texture. So this one's more subtle, but you can see how there's a cool kind of gritty, almost like a roller paint texture to it. And then there's also a wood stamp texture you can choose from. But in this case, we'll use Bristle Brush. And then I'll do the same for my word cuts. Give it a second to load. Cool. There we go. Perfect. Cool. So now what I'll do is I'll load our second word. So I'll just go forward. Let's go to about 4 seconds in. And then I want to cut these clips, so I'll click my blade tool here. You'll see it in your toolbar. I'll click to cut it, and then to go back to my selection tool, I'll just click on this arrow here, and then I'll select them, then hit delete. And again, normally, if you get into Premiere, I highly recommend learning the shortcuts, but for today's use, I'm trying to keep things really simple, so I'll just be clicking on all the tool icons for you guys. So now what I'll do is I'll import the second part of our video, which will be the word rocks, because Design Cuts rocks and Design Cuts is awesome. So I'll type in rocks, and then I'll choose a font. So I can use any font I want. Today I'm going to use Bobby Jones, which is one of Tom Chalky's fonts. I'm a big fan of his font packs, and they happen to work really, really well with our hand-painted tools because he makes a lot of super organic fonts that are all kind of hand-drawn. So if you take a cool hand-drawn style font and then combine it with a hand-painted effect, you get a really cool result. So as you can see, get a pretty natural painted look. So I think that looks good. And then I'll choose that same blue color. So I'll just copy it from here, from my other text I created, and I'll paste it onto my word rocks. And there we go. To add a little bit more excitement to the word rocks, I'm just going to turn on a line wiggle. And then I'll go ahead and clip this after about 8 seconds. So that way both words show up about the same time. So I'll click my blade tool, click where I want to cut it, click my select tool, I'll hit delete. Perfect. And then now this is where we really get to have some fun and start playing with elements. So I'll drag in my painted elements Faure, which includes a lot of transitions, and we can pick out which transitions we want to use. So this first slide just gives me kind of a preview of what all our different options are. So I really like the number 6. And I think I'm going to use a combination of 6 and then 11 for this demonstration. So I'll choose 6 first. So here's all my different options. What I'll do is I'll just type in the number 6 for this first slider, and that'll select that transition for me. That looks good. And then I'll choose our same blue color again, which I already have copied to my clipboard, so I'll just paste that right there. Perfect. So I want it to actually start being a solid blue screen. So I'm going to clip it right there. And then I want to clip it over here right before it goes to solid blue. So I'll select my blade tool again, clip that. Perfect. And then I'm just going to drag the end of the transition to the beginning, and you'll see why. Is basically so I can start solid, then it'll reveal design cuts. Perfect. And then I'll drag the beginning of the transition to the end because we're going to make this a perfect loop. So that's where it'll transition out. Cool. And to make this loop perfectly already in my timeline, so I can preview it, I can add this little loop icon to my toolbar. For me, I already have it loaded, but if it doesn't already show up for you, you can just click this plus icon and then click this loop playback icon and then just drag it into your toolbar and click OK. So for me, I'll just turn it on so it'll highlight blue, and then I'll go to the point where I want it to loop, and then I'll click O, which will set my out point, and then I'll hit play. You'll see it'll automatically loop for me. Cool, there we go. And then what I want to do is I want to add a little transition here between these words. So again, I'll drag this template in, and we'll pick out which one we want. We'll pick out which one we want to use. In this case, I'm going to use 14. So I'll cut it right when it goes full screen. I'll scrub to the end. In this one, I want to start a little bit late just so it happens a little bit quicker. So I'll give it a few frames and then I'll have it start, right about there. Should be good. Then I'll delete this whole middle section. Then I'll drag this right to that transition point. Then here's the result. Perfect. Okay, I think that looks good. Now what we can do is we can start adding some embellishments. So I'll do the same, and in this case, I'll use our Hand Painted Elements 3 pack. And here's all kinds of paint streaks and lines and shapes I can use. In this case, I think it'd be cool to have like a line reveal the text. So I'll use number 11. I think will work well. So I'll type in 11 up here, and then I'll just choose the color white. And then I'll put it under my transitions. So I'm just going to click and drag to select all my transitions. Then I'll drag them up so they're on top of this layer. Cool. And then here's the result. Perfect. And then I'll have it start just a little bit sooner. Sweet. There we go. I like it. And then I'll go ahead and add some stars to it. So that would be in the element pack 4. So this will kind of add a shimmer to the background. I'll do number 25. I'll choose the color white again. Perfect. I think that'll work. So I'll go ahead and cut it. And you'll see I just drag the end of it, and that's another way of cutting it, is it just shortens the end. So I shorten it to where I want it. That looks good. Okay, and then I'll do the same for the second part. So I'll drag this in again. Give it a second to load. And for this one, I'm just going to do these little bubble fireworks. So that's number 23. And then I'll choose the color white. Cool. And I think that'll work. Then I'll go ahead and cut it just to clean things up. Cool, and I think that's looking pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add a final level of detail. So I'll just drag everything up one layer. And then you'll notice with these transitions, they have all these frames included that are just full frames painted. So I want to take advantage of that. So I'll copy this layer over and I'll just bring it over here where I have some room to work. And then, whoops, I selected the wrong layer. So I want to select this layer, and then I'll copy that over. So Command C, Command V, and then I'll drag it out a bit. And I'll go right to where it's a solid frame, and then I'll go ahead and clip it. And then I'll cut it again right at the end. Perfect. And then I'll just choose like a dark gray color, and this is just for our background. So I'll click OK. And then I'll drag this over here. So you can see how this adds just kind of a subtle texture to the background. You'll see just a little bit of distortion back here. And I'll actually add a little bit more contrast just so we can see it better. So to do that, I'll just make this gray a little bit lighter. Perfect. And then I'll just option drag this over. Option drag it over again. Bring that in. Cool, and there we go. And you've officially made something hand painted. And yeah, like I said, this is a super fun tool to play with. If you've ever wanted to bring your work to life with animation, this is a great way to do it. It just opens up a lot of possibilities as a designer, you know, being able to take your work and add a whole new dynamic or a whole new level of depth, and just a lot more interest with animation. It's just a fun feature to add. If you're ever doing social content, it just adds a lot of interest. This works amazing for, you know, Facebook ads, you know, whatever kind of projects you're doing for clients. It tends to come in handy all the time. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you ever have any questions at all, you can reach me directly at contact@smashworkshop.com. And if you'd like to check them out, you can go to designcuts.com, and then they're under graphics and then motion graphics. And that's where you can find the hand-painted titles and elements pack. So this is the pack that includes both the title template as well as the custom image template that we use. And then it also includes 50 elements. So this is a pretty versatile pack. It doesn't have all of our elements, but at least gets your feet wet. And then you can also check out our massive element smash pack. And this is the one that includes all 150 elements. So 100 painted elements and 50 chalk elements. And yeah, this one's a lot of fun to play with as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. And thank you to our Smashworks team with all the guys who spent a lot of time painting all these packs frame by frame. So that'd be Trevor, Parker, Felix. A lot of hard work went into these. And again, thanks to Design Cuts, who's been a phenomenal host. We love working with Design Cuts, and we appreciate them inviting us back to be on this show. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and have an awesome rest of your day.